Aloha, everybody. Today is April 9th, 2025, a day that will probably live in infamy. What a crazy, crazy world and market we all live in. I am just like, what is going on? Oh my God, I just want to give so much empathy and support to all the traders out there who are living through this. Uh, I hope that you guys are taking really good care of yourselves because this is, not what you have ever lived through before. And I think you have to really kind of put in reinforcements when you're on such a wild roller coaster ride. This is part of why it's so important to be able to come back to center and ground yourself because when the market does this, which, like it's never done before, but whenever you're dealing with a lot of volatility, you've got to realize that that is going to cost you because your whole nervous system is being triggered. So I'm hoping that you guys are finding ways to take good care of yourself outside of the market. Please make sure you're getting lots of good sleep. Please make sure you're eating well. Please avoid any of the numbing agents like booze, like pot, like any kind of recreational drugs, because right now your whole system is going to need you working at 100%. And these are all the different ways that we can get compromised. So please take care of yourselves as perfectly as you can as you ride this out. And look, it's going to be a wild ride for the next 3 months. So buckle in, guys. You're going to have to really start to take good care of yourself and to also increase your self-awareness. Where were you triggered in these last few days? Where were you being completely exposed? Where were you completely not taking the appropriate steps? What and where can you do better? These are going to be hard questions to ask yourself. These are going to be you taking a very honest look at yourself. So please don't come into this journey with judgment towards yourself, but to come in with as much empathy and honesty as possible. Hi, Katie. I'm so glad that you're here. And it sounds like you want to do a check in. So I'm happy to have you come in. So, who am I? My name is Kim and Curtin. Katie, I'm going to give you the link here in just 1 second. I'm just picking it up here. So I just, in case you don't know who I am, I started out strong today without an intro. My name is Kim Van Curtin, the Wall Street coach, and I'm a performance coach, executive coach for traders, investors, and executives. I help them break free from self-sabotage and master their mindset by being able to learn how to surf their hard to be with emotions. I have, why me? Why am I doing this? I do this almost every Wednesday as a way to be a contribution back to this community. I think it's one of the hardest jobs anybody voluntarily signs up for, trading. And so that is why I'm doing this, to try to find a way to give back. Why should you listen to me? Because I've worked with hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, prop firms, 7 and 8 figure traders, mid and large cap executives, and CEOs of fintech firms. So it's safe to say I know what I'm doing. I've been at this for 18 years. And prior to that, I worked to the C-suite level of banking and finance for almost a decade. So 28 years of being in and around Wall Street. So I've seen a few things and I've seen people melt down, and I've seen people somehow navigate incredible challenges. Okay, Katie, there is the link. Come on in. I've shared the link also with this special guest. who we're trying to coordinate doing a live this week. I don't know if he's going to be available, but I did just send it to him. So, Katie, just a heads up that if he comes into the room, because his time is so limited, I will probably jump to him. But I'll, of course, come back to you after. He may only be able to give us a few minutes. So, if he does come into the room, I will put him ahead just because I've been in communication with him all week about maybe coming in. So I just want you to have that heads up. But come in now, Katie, if you're in a position to, and we can hop right into the coaching. Ultimately, guys, this is coaching that I hope to do with those who volunteer. Okay, let me get you on camera here. Katie, I'm just looking for where that is. Okay. There you are, Katie. How are you?
Oh, hi. Am I I'm on live.
You're on live.
Okay. I had your voice going double there, so I muted the other one.
Oh, good.
I guess
Perfect,
that's fine.
perfect, perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. So tell me, what did you want to get coaching on?
We've kind of had an ongoing thing, so I was just gonna kind of check in and let you know
Yeah.
where I'm at, baby
Yeah.
steps.
Yep. Yep.
Still working on maintaining all the supplements and the health changes. I have more to go.
Yeah.
And
So, Katie, are you comfortable just giving like a little clarity for those who, don't know who you are?
Mhm. Sure. Like, I've been trading since about 2020. Learned from the True Trader group,
Mm.
and went got my basis there. And then the last couple years, I've been learning the Maurice Kenny method of trading. Um, and the part that I'm working on is my emotional, psychological aspect. I
Mhm.
feel like that's my biggest hang up, like I guess a lot of traders go through. So I've been going to counseling. I've been checking on my, I decided to check on my health levels when you put out that offer with Merrick. So we did the blood test and
Yeah.
found out a few things that were off, like vitamin D and some of the menopausal hormones. And I'm still going to save up to do those. But the one supplements I've been on seems to help some. And then um, I still have some more exercises to build up in my life. I do some, but I
Yeah.
got to get more going. But
Yeah. So where do you feel the check-in? Why don't you tell me a couple of things that you're really proud of that you've accomplished? Because it's so easy to talk about what we still want to do. I find most of us don't spend enough time kind of applauding what we have done. So would you just name 2 to 3 things you're really proud of accomplishing?
I'm really happy that I've been going through counseling
Mhm.
and working on self-awareness, um, and that I invested in my health with you and Merrick. Um, I think I'm getting some clarity on some of the finer points that I need to work on, like my issue with self-worth and needing connection, from your needs list, for example. Those things I think are important. I'm building more confidence. Like I sing with my husband, and the last couple times I've performed, I have had a lot less stage fright.
Mhm.
So
Great.
I feel like I'm making some emotional shifts there,
Beautiful.
being more comfortable. So I guess that means my confidence and self-worth is kind of growing.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. So
and
I just want to acknowledge you doing the lab work is such an example of good self-care.
thank you.
So that is just, be proud of yourself that you invested in doing that in the first place, because it is just these small actions that tell our system, oh, I do value myself. I do value how I show up. And
Mhm.
especially because of how a trader has to bring their A game, that if there are physiological things that are compromised, it can't but help show up in a situation where you're going to be under tremendous pressure.
Yeah. Like you were talking about, all the volatility right now is really triggering. It's like,
Very triggering.
for me, it's
And
like,
Katie, if it's triggering for people who are, traded for 30 years, you can imagine it's going to be triggering for somebody who has not been trading that long. Like, that's what I want you guys to see. You are in the midst of being with other people, if you follow X, like, who are saying, I have never seen this in my 30 years of trading. Like, you've got to see that, like, you are in the same kind of volatility as everybody. And that hopefully makes you realize, okay, this is a wild ride. This is a wild ride.
I know, it's crazy. The SPY moving 30 points instead of 4 or 5
Just
at a tweet from one person.
totally,
Um,
totally.
and today, while I was doing my weeding, I do little weeding jobs that are, like I told you, I do some weeding on the side for a little extra cash, and I try to listen to some educational things. And I listened to Brian Lee. That was
Excellent.
really, really good. I want to
Okay.
use some of his methods to
Excellent.
fine tune my tracking and
Excellent.
how to, build structure to my trading plans. Because I tend to be a little, well, I'm working on my, what do you call it? Impulsiveness.
Yeah. Yep.
I
Good.
think the impulsiveness comes from maybe a little FOMO, maybe a little,
Yeah.
one other thing.
So
Oh,
the impulsiveness, let's just talk about that for a minute. So you said it comes from maybe some FOMO, and was there something else that you think causes the impulsiveness?
yeah. Past losses. I think
Okay,
that
gotcha.
I still feel myself holding on to those because I can tell, because when I see the volatility happening, I'm like, oh, I want to catch one of those big moves and get myself back ahead, from my past lack of discipline. Oh, for some reason you went silent.
I must have
Oh, there.
accidentally muted my mic, so I'm sorry about that.
That's
So
okay.
I'm just telling Miguel, yes, after Katie's finished, Miguel, I can definitely take you. The live coaching is definitely joinable. So when Katie's done, you can come on in to this room. So Katie, I think what you just said is really valuable, because you said that some of the impulsiveness stems from FOMO being generated by not having kind of forgiven yourself for past mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And so I just want you to pay attention for 1 second, because when we have past mistakes coming with us into today, that means we are carrying a weight from yesterday that doesn't necessarily have to come with us. So,
mhm.
what I would like to suggest is, I'm going to pose this question to you, but I want you to take this question possibly after this conversation ends today. What would it take for you to forgive yourself for those losses?
Um, hmm. Good question. What would it take?
Can everybody hear Katie? I can hear her, but I'm just making sure. Tina, thanks for being here. Can you tell me that you can hear her? There was a button pressed, Katie, on your screen that I did, so I just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
Okay.
But what would it take for you to be able to forgive yourself for the past losses?
Well, I mean, I could say it's like acceptance of them somehow.
Yes, that's a freaking awesome answer. So, what stops you from accepting them?
Well, maybe because they were a little too many of them, and several, bigger ones, and feeling guilty about taking away from our family's hard-earned money. So
Katie, let's pause right there. Good job. So, I want you, if you're willing to just close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to take your attention, and I want you to take what usually is us being in our mind and see if you can drop your attention into your body. I like to use the example of take a metaphoric elevator from your head into your physical body. And I want you to just tune in to where this holding on physically lives inside of your body. See if you can tune into the weight of that, the guilt.
maybe the heart and shoulders.
Yeah. So, would you be willing to just put your hand on your heart? Just take your time and tune into the contraction. Tune into the heaviness of that guilt, disappointment, frustration. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
So, keeping your eyes closed, just put a couple of names on what you feel. What do you notice?
Like a tightness in my throat, a little, like feeling fear of expressing the feelings about it.
Yep. What's it feel like in that heart?
Like a dull, dull, sometimes maybe a dull pain, maybe it's a dullness.
Yep. Anything else? You're just sitting with it. You're doing great.
A little tightness.
Yeah. So if you're able to see if your imagination can have you be physically inside of this dark dullness. See if you can imagine yourself being in there looking around. What do you notice?
I saw like feels like a dark cave.
Yeah. So what's it like to see yourself in that dark cave? Is it familiar?
Lonely.
So it's lonely. What else is there in this dark cave?
Just me, I guess.
Yeah. What else do you notice about this dark cave? Is it familiar?
I guess it's sort of like a feeling of that disconnection and being lost in it, and it's hard. It may be familiar, but I think I maybe am buried, but I'm I cover it up,
Yeah.
so it's hard to recognize, but it's probably underneath it all constantly.
Yep. Yep. So you're doing great. So just notice as you're right now feeling it, what it is like for you to just be in it without covering it up.
I guess semi peaceful, just to recognize it.
Yes. Yes. When do you think you first felt this dark cave?
Well, in my childhood, I think I developed a little this darkness. I was talking about it in counseling today that when I see certain pictures of myself and there's a slight, I see this little girl who has like a dimness, like um, the joy has been a little trampled out of
Yeah.
that little child within my
Yeah.
childhood.
So how old do you think that this dark cave showed up in whatever way?
But it,
7, 8?
it could have even been younger, like 3 to 5, even,
Yeah. So see if there's a part of you that in this dark cave you can connect with that 3 or 4-year-old version of you. See if you can see her in there with you.
hmm
How's she doing in this dark cave with you there?
I can see her holding my hand.
Beautiful. What does she need from you?
Um, Maybe some security, comfort, connection.
Are these things you're willing to give her?
Yes.
So do what you need to do to let her know that you are going to give her these. Maybe it's with words, maybe it's a gesture, maybe it's just telepathically. How does
Maybe
she
a
how does she
hug. I feel like
Yeah, so
hugging.
give her one.
Okay.
How to let yourself just have that connection with her.
Mm.
How does she respond to that hug?
With open arms.
Beautiful. How does it feel to hug her for you?
It feels kind of complete and comforting and full of love.
Beautiful.
hmm
So now with the two of you kind of just in it together, take a look around and come to terms with what you both want to do in this dark cave.
Be there for each other.
Beautiful.
Work together or play together.
Yeah.
Find our way together.
Did the both of you want to
Free her up to have the joy again.
yeah, see if the both of you have options in this space? Are there options now that perhaps are new?
Coming out into the light.
Well, take a look around, see what you both see. Is
I
there an
see
exit?
light opening up into a beautiful open field.
Beautiful. Are you both going to go towards that?
Mm-hmm.
So do what you need to do to make that happen.
Okay.
And then when you get there, let me know.
We're standing in the field holding hands.
And what do you both notice?
Lots of light and potentiality and peace,
Beautiful.
comfort with the natural environment.
So now I want you to do whatever you need to do to connect with her and to let her know, first, that you're grateful she showed up today. Second, create a password between the two of you. If she needs you, how does she get your attention? Come up with a way that if she needs you, you'll come. Do you have that figured out?
Some kind of password.
Or gesture or tug at a skirt?
Mm-hmm.
How does she let you know when she needs your support and hug?
All right.
Okay. Now you're going to thank her for her time and her connection, and let her know you're going to come back to visit with her, but that you right now need to come back into this time and place. How's she doing over that?
I think she's at peace with that.
Terrific. So say your goodbyes for now, and to remember that you are agreeing to come back when she needs you, if indeed you are. And then you're going to take your time and come back to this office you're in now, your chair, this conversation. You're going to come back to your body in this moment, and you're going to take in some deep oxygen. And when it feels right, you're going to open your eyes and come back to the conversation with me.
Thank you.
How was that, Katie?
It was beautiful. Perfect.
What is it?
It was so nice to visit with you.
What did you notice about her and you with her?
Um, I don't know. Like, just it just felt good to be aware of each other and make a intentional connection so that I can be more aware of this part of me, and when I'm feeling certain feelings, what they could possibly be about, or
Yep.
how to be there for that person in a compassionate way.
Beautifully said. Because all of us we're always all the ages we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And there are parts of ourselves, especially from childhood, where it's possible those things that we had to do to cope with whatever showed up in our childhood, the fears or the discomforts still reside within us. And as kids, children have a tendency to hold themselves accountable for any of the dark caves they have to live through. But we're not the creators of those dark caves. We just find ourselves in them. And we have to, we look for who must have caused this. And we often will always say, must be me. I must have did this. I must have done this to myself. But it's never the truth. So
the way we coped with it.
Correct. And that is a great thing, right? That version of Katie, boy, was she incredibly resilient. Boy, was she incredibly strong. You ever take a look at a 3 or 4-year-old? They're pretty innocent and sweet and and yet look at you, 3 and 4-year-old you, tough as nails, coping. That's an incredible warrior at 3 or 4 years old that you are. So I'm going to suggest, if you want to take this on, see if you can go get a picture of the 3, 4-year-old version of you. And see if that is a door into reconnecting with that part of yourself. Helping her to have hugs when she needs them.
Okay.
So get a beautiful frame and then put this picture of her, of you in it.
Okay.
Okay. Good work. Now, Katie, that process you just went through is a process that I call emotional non-resistance. It's a somatic process. It's a process I learned from 2 teachers, Raphael Kushner and Peter Levine, and they both have books. You don't necessarily have to read those books, but if you do, I would suggest you look at Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine, which teaches us kind of how to process old feelings that perhaps are stuck. And Raphael Kushner's book is called The One Thing Holding You Back. And those 2 books talk about this practice.
Okay.
Maybe you just look at Raphael Kushner's conversation with me on my podcast. He was instrumental in my healing my trauma from my childhood. So was Peter Levine. The both of them taught me and helped me heal all of that I had to heal. Not that it's finished, because it's never finished, but it got me really far through a lot of hard stuff. But here's what I want to suggest for the next 24 hours. Be very gentle with yourself. You just had a bit of a workout. Could feel like you just ran a marathon.
Yeah.
So be kind to yourself tonight and don't engage in anything that numbs you, because emotions, when we start to feel them, sometimes they start to open up like a Pandora's box. Anger might come up. Grief might come up. When we start to feel feelings, they're just so happy we're giving them the time of day. They kind of have a tendency to rush out sometimes. So be gentle and just let yourself feel them, because they just need to be discharged.
Okay.
Maybe a hot bath tonight would be a nice thing to do for yourself.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Good. Stay in touch. Check in with me next week. But I would say for the next 24 hours, especially with the volatility of the market, and then you just had some emotional internal volatility, TLC, lots of tender love and care towards yourself. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Good work. Thank you for coming here. And please just let me know how you're doing and if you need any support. Okay?
All right, I will. Thank you
good.
so much. It was
So
great.
good to see you, sweetheart. All right. We'll talk
See ya.
soon. Okay. I'll go off for now. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for being so courageous to bring that into today's conversation. Look, guys, doing what you are doing as traders is whether you know it or not, going to ask everything of you. And this is something you hear me say repeatedly. If you begin to see the market is not happening to you, but for you, you can have the most incredibly deep personal development of your life as a trader because you're going to be triggered, guys, on every level. And I'm of the opinion, let me be triggered, then I can address it, I can heal it, I can adapt, I can find where my triggers are and take care of them so they aren't invisibly driving me anymore. That is, in my opinion, a way of living a self aware life. And the more self aware you are as traders, guys, the better chance you have at having consistent profitability. All right, Miguel, are you still here? If you are, I'm going to send you a link for you to come on in. If you still want to, here is the link, Miguel. I think you're inside, you're inside YouTube. So hopefully that link will show. And if it doesn't, just say the word and we'll figure out how to get it to you. So what that practice was that I just did with Katie is, oh, good, Miguel. So there's that link. Hopefully you can see it. You'll click on that link and then you'll come into the green room and I'll be notified and then I can bring you in. All right, Miguel. Hi, Miguel. How are you?
Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. First of all, I want to start by thanking you for making these free sessions for all of us to be able to really get some expertise from you, especially someone with so much experience in the
It's my
industry.
pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Very
Very
kind.
nice to see.
So tell me what can I coach you on today? What would you like to bring to the conversation?
So I think I should start just giving a quick introduction so you more or less see where I come from as a trader.
Sure, please.
I'm 18, so very young. I started trading when I was 15.
Wow.
I've been profitable since June last year, pretty sure.
Congrats.
Thank you so much.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm in university doing economics. I'm
Wow.
trying to juggle trading and studying.
Good Lord.
Um,
Are you based in the UK? Are you on Eastern time zone?
No, so I think from the accent you probably think I'm from the UK. I'm from Portugal, but my mum's from the UK, so I have the
So you're in
so yeah,
Portugal.
yeah, I'm in UK time. It's the same as UK time.
Okay, good.
So
That's great. That's great.
yeah,
But still tricky.
yeah, it is. But I still managed to get through it. So I'm I've recently been struggling with two big issues. One is more, I would say, not even trading related.
Okay.
It's more to do with my relationship with money, perhaps.
Okay.
And I think the second one, just so I'll just give a brief introduction of what the issues are, and then
Sure.
maybe you can interlink them in some way.
You got it.
And then the second issue is when I am trading, I trade for 4 hours. So I trade from, I believe in New York time, it's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 hours.
Yep.
And I noticed that a lot of the times I feel a certain mental fatigue, which makes me miss opportunities, even though I know it's not a like-in process, because and I lack in technical know-how, and it's not any gap in my framework or my edge, because I've really nailed that down. I really did some good work on nailing that down, and I really do notice that it's just a lack on, like, it's not really laziness, but it's like I'm so fatigued that it's like I lose the attention to the nitty-gritty, so
Totally.
to the small details that really matter in the trades.
What time is it in Portugal at 9 a.m. Eastern?
It's 2 p.m.
Okay.
So I
So,
have college in the morning
yep.
only.
Yep.
Um, and then I make sure I'm at the desk at 1:40 p.m. So I
Okay.
have lunch prior.
Yep.
Um, but I still, and I was looking through my journal now actually, and I was noticing that the trades that I did mostly miss, I believe it was over 75% of the trades I missed were within the last hour and a half of the
Wow.
session, and
Wow.
that really sparked a big
Yep.
light bulb moment. So
Yep.
I think we should start by the more straightforward and less philosophical question,
Yeah.
perhaps, which is that maybe process issue. I don't know what input.
Well, I
You
mean,
might
and I'm very kind of curious if you have read or just seen any conversations with, like, I had Dr. Platt on recently, who's a neuroscientist. He talks about how the competency of our brain and how it can get fatigued. Also, I'm thinking of Celeste Headley, who wrote a book called Do Nothing, and she talks how we have a 4-hour window for super processing on intense work, and that's it per day. Our
Mhm.
ability to really be as sharp as possible maxes out at 4 hours. Now,
Okay.
what I'm curious about, especially because your journals seem to have this so tracked, is what you're already doing in the morning is of mental fatigue. You're in your
Yeah.
college classes. And so the key would be, how do you honor the fact that you are going to incur mental fatigue? What if you just stop trading, as silly as this may sound, 90 minutes sooner than you do?
Yeah. Yeah. But then it comes into the perhaps maybe greed aspect, which is okay, I know I will be more mentally sharp and ultimately my mental capital will be preserved if I cut my sessions short. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I'm like, okay, there's opportunities
For sure, for sure. I
which
don't
are
thi I don't think that's greed, though. So, I want you to just notice, though, the desire to succeed, the desire to have more opportunities isn't necessarily greedy. It's just human.
yeah, yeah,
You're like, "No, no, I have still more time to create, revenue for myself. I will miss that." So, I think that's an understandable desire. I don't think that's necessarily greed at all.
okay,
And perhaps there's strategy you can put in place that isn't going to require the mental nimbleness that you currently are needing, because you know you're going to be mentally fatigued at that time of day based on all the other things you're committed to in that morning. So
mhm,
I think it comes down to just having to be very conscious of the choices that you currently are in the midst of. If
mhm,
you and your sharpness is being kind of poured into your education right now, then how do you customize and sculpt your trading to be conscious of the fact that some of your energy has already been sucked up by the mornings that
yeah,
you're having?
definitely, definitely.
Are there things you could do for your trading that don't ask for that incredible sharpness that could still be of value to your overarching trading?
I think I struggle a lot with the actual time management while during the session. So, for example, the actual time where I need to be very mentally sharp and literally stuck on the screen, out of the 4 hours, it might be only one because it's when price is trading at an area of interest I'm not going to go into the technicals of it, but it's when price is trading at an area that I'm looking for, and when I really need to be looking at a low target frame perhaps and really focused. I noticed that what tends to happen is for the first 2-3 hours, price is not trading at an area of interest, but I still stay on the chart, and I think that maybe is extinguishing that mental bandwidth I could
Brilliant.
have for when it's
Brilliant.
important.
Brilliant. I love that you see that about yourself. That just tells me you're really self-aware, Miguel. Well
Thank you.
done. Well
Thank you.
done. So if that's true, how would you redesign what the day looks like? How do you take that into account and re be very strategic then in taking all of these pieces into place? You say, okay, this is what this needs to look like if I want to have all the energy I can bring to the table.
I actually use a lot of AI to help me.
Good.
So I put my journal entries a lot, and I say, based on all of the prior prompts I've selected, what advice do you give? Because I notice that's kind of my coach at times. It's AI.
Excellent. It's my coach too, Miguel. It's an excellent platform.
Yeah. And a couple ideas I've gained were like, it's just being. I think during the session I'm not mindful enough that I'm maybe okay. This is extending my mental capital. I need to get away. Price is literally. I know I'm not going to be trading in the next 10 minutes. I don't have to be trading in the next 10 minutes. It's not in my edge to be trading. But I still. I don't know if it's an ingrained belief of working is being at the desk, perhaps.
Possibly.
Maybe that's affecting how I'm.
Possibly.
I don't know. It's just like I know perfectly outside of the session that I'm okay. I should maybe get up, take a break, take 5 minutes, go to the balcony, have just a mental breather.
Yep.
But then while I'm in the session, I'm just like price is not setting up, and I'm just stuck on the screen, like kind of like paralyzed in a way. So it's not
Yeah.
like I'm.
Yeah. James Altucher says it's you are nailed to your seat.
Yeah, exactly. It feels
Yeah.
like I just can't, like, I'm not aware of what's happening, and I just
No.
sit, and then it gets to the 3-hour mark perhaps, and I'm like,
Yep.
I start getting lousy and tired, and then
Totally.
suddenly the session finishes. I go do my stuff outside of the session. I come back at night to review my trades, and I'm like, I've just missed an obvious trade because I was like, I start going on my phone more.
Totally.
I start scrolling Twitter. I start maybe reading a book.
Totally. But what's so fabulous is that you're very conscious of all this and you are aware. So
Yeah.
now you're going to likely need to set certain kind of boundaries up and or craft ways that do get you up away from the screens if you know that that is what you're tempted by. It's understandable because right now you are wanting to improve. You are wanting to give your all to this. And so, what you've discovered looking at your pattern is that this isn't serving that overarching big picture, it's costing you. So,
Yeah.
how could you set things up? Because remember, too, this is something I remember learning right when
Mhm.
we were all kind of getting put towards social media. It was a book that talked about how when we are on our phones, even for relaxation, like scrolling through Instagram, or scrolling through X, not necessarily to just see what other traders are doing, but when we are on there, our brain doesn't read it as rest. It reads it as work.
Okay. That's very interesting, actually. Yeah.
It reads it as cognitive load.
Right. I don't know because it's as you say. I know, and I, like I don't want to mistake myself. My results have just been out of this world completely, but it's just I have that ambition to completely reach the epitome, like
Yeah.
of the
You
absolute
know,
max I can do, and I
it's beautiful. I want to encourage that as long as it's in sync with your basic needs, like self-care, like taking good care of yourself, like the fact that you're also in the middle of getting a college education.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I think your hunger is completely appropriate for 18 years old.
Yeah,
If you're not hungry at 18, like, uh, I'm
yeah,
so happy you're hungry for it. I'm so happy you wanna reach for the stars. You know, there's a old, radio disc jockey whose name was Casey Kasem, and he had this great phrase, as corny as it sounds. He said, "Reach for the stars while keeping your feet on the ground."
yeah.
Both can happen at the same time.
That's something I really I used to struggle with was balance, balance, and when I started seeing, just so you gain a context of economically where I'm at, the average salary in Portugal is 1,000 euros a month.
Wow.
Even though our country is beautiful and everyone comes here for
Yep.
holidays,
Yep.
uh, so seeing figures where on Twitter they're uh,
Yep.
quite like not impressive. If I have no desire to post any monetary figures, but seeing that and then in real life, it kind of being so like I don't know. It's kind of like I feel derealized. It's like, and also I thought I was gonna be so much happier
Mm.
when I thought I was gonna go, especially as an 18-year-old. Everything
Yep.
we want to do is just buy clothes, buy stuff,
Yep.
buy. I thought
Yep.
I was gonna be spending all this money and buying and just enjoying myself, and then
And what'd you
it
discover?
it doesn't feel. I don't feel happier now.
Yeah.
I think I feel like pretty realized, but I don't feel happier now than when I felt when I didn't have
Yep.
like when I was just a normal 18-year-old or
Totally.
17-year-old.
Totally. So
I
good
don't
job,
feel.
Miguel. You figured that out right away because sometimes it takes people decades to figure that out. Having
Yeah,
worked with people that are billionaires, I can promise you it doesn't change. That sense of happiness and satisfaction is never going to come from what we want. It comes from what we when we have our needs met.
yeah,
So one of the questions at the beginning you were bringing forward was this relationship to money. And that possibly is a good place now for us to go
yeah,
because
definitely.
I do think the culture, all the cultures right on this planet have a tendency to tell us when you get the fancy car, when you get the fancy watch, when you get the fancy bank account, then you'll have peace, then you'll have joy. But what most of us discover at some point or another is that those things don't bring that peace, joy, equanimity. What
Mhm.
brings peace, joy, equanimity are our having our needs met. So I would say this would be a good time for you to start to identify what your current needs are. And needs are very different than wants. Needs
Yeah,
are things like freedom, like challenge. So as I listen to you, what I hear is that some of your needs are freedom, challenge, efficacy, adventure.
mhm.
If you be those are just a handful, I'm sure you have a lot more, and I'm gonna share this needs list with you so you can start to identify them. If you know what your basic needs are, your ability to get them met, first of all, exponentially increases because how can you get something met if you don't even know you have it, right?
Yeah,
So let's just say a fancy car. I want you to just guess for a minute. If somebody said to you that they wanted a particular fancy car, you know, that might indicate what need if you had to guess.
Um, validation, I would
And
say.
another word for validation might be respect,
Yeah,
right?
respect, maybe from you, like an alter persona of yourself, or maybe even others.
Or
So
or even just for yourself. You have
yeah,
self-respect, right? Or you would have respect from other people, right? But
yeah,
let's say you get that fancy car, you get to drive down the street, and you don't experience anybody respecting you.
yeah. That's actually, yeah, it's one thing that I think it's due to age a lot, because like my father tells me this. It's that the young man ego, which is you want to be the man young, you want to be, as you say, driving a nice car, being respected, literally,
Right.
the need you talked about. And it's kind of a, now you just asked me that, I just kind of realized, like, what if I manage somehow, not somehow, but I do manage to achieve
Yeah,
that kind of
totally.
material goal,
Totally.
and I feel that it's kind of scary to think about, actually.
Yeah, well, that's good that you see that it might be a little scary because that fear is there's some discomfort that must be there that causes that fear. And I would say that's worth exploring because if there is some hesitation to just in this imaginary scenario, you're like, ooh, having that car might scare me a little bit. That's important for you to see because that will invisibly hold you back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, what's the fear? The fear could be judgment. The fear could be people will be mad at you if you have a fancy car or look down on you if you have a fancy car.
I think internally, also because of the unfortunate social media, what is deemed as a successful young man, it kind of puts, because I think someone who's 35 can't really relate to my upbringing, and people my age, and people maybe that are 22, their upbringing, because I kind of feel like there's that requirement to be respected is to have expensive materialistic items, uh, that I, like I don't even see how, if you don't have that,
Mhm.
you can really be that respected person in your ego mind, perhaps. Like I don't see how, if I don't ever get the materialistic desires, I
Mhm.
will be respected, or I don't know.
But if that is potentially true, then I would say that is worth exploring what you consider to be respect worthy. And
Yeah.
this is so unique to each of us. Needs, another word for needs could be values.
Hmm.
So I'll just tell you one quick story of a gentleman who'd come to me. He had built a company, you know, over 25 years, had sold his company, and he bought $500,000 sailboat after this sale. And he had been retired for 2 years. And he came to the coaching angry because he had this expensive sailboat and he was like not feeling happy. And he was like, why am I not happy? I have my dream sailboat. Like this should have made me happy. But as we talked, I got the fact that this guy for 25 years had received respect every day in his company walk in the hallways because he built that company from nothing. He
Yeah.
had not experienced respect day to day for 2 years. That's a human need.
Yeah.
So I said, when you rocked into your yacht club with your boat, did you get respect? And he was like, no. And I was like, how do you feel about the boat now? He's like, I could give a damn about it
Yeah. Yeah.
because he thought the boat would have gotten him respect, but it didn't. But here's the thing, Miguel. If he had volunteered with entrepreneurs who are building their businesses, or perhaps went to the new company owner and said, hey, I want to be a contribution in some way, he probably would have gotten his need for respect met.
Yeah. It's scary to think about that those kind of probably distorted values that I may hold that are probably heavily influenced by social media and
Well, look at them, because the wants are influenced by social media, but underneath the wants are needs that you have. There's nothing wrong with having a beautiful sailboat or a beautiful fancy car, but it isn't going to scratch the itch if what the needs are underneath them aren't met.
that was the most light bulb sentence I've ever heard, was that every want is has a need behind it. I actually have never thought about it. For me, I just wanted a cool house and car just to. I couldn't even say why I wanted it. I didn't know.
How
I
about
wasn't
this? How about
aware.
this? Because it's security, because it
Yeah.
gives you freedom, because it gives you self-respect,
Yeah.
because it gives you, ease.
Yeah.
But if you are able to secure all of those, what that looks like can really vary.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the materialistic
Correct. Correct.
item.
But right now, think about it. Madison Avenue is selling what they sell, telling us, if you get this watch, car, penthouse, plane, that you're going to feel like you're enough.
Yeah.
Most people don't feel like they're enough.
Yeah.
They
I think
think
deep
they
down
have to
that's
earn it.
also
They have to
uh,
earn their enoughness. And if you
yeah.
find out now that you right this second are enough, it'd be nice to have all those things, but they aren't going to make you think you are or feel enough.
Yeah. My dad told me that if I don't learn that lesson now, that the any materialistic desire, whether it's a car, a bicycle, whatever, will not make me happy. I will only learn after I buy it. So
But I
it's
think the fact that you have a dad who already knows that means that you're already in consciousness of that truth.
how would you suggest I should explore it? So truly maybe explore its roots. So I have a few ideas of like childhood upbringing and
Mhm.
how maybe a sense of insecurity as a child due
Sure,
to surroundings and stuff. But
totally.
how would you suggest? And I'm sure you've had countless clients. You've had to do this internal work. How would you suggest I truly get to the maybe I don't have to have the every answer solved, but
Right.
maybe get to know myself better in this issue, you could say better.
I would say take a look at that needs list. I have a universal needs list that I put specifically together for traders to look at, to see like what are the needs that you have. And remember too, your needs are going to constantly be changing. The needs you have right now at 18, in just a year, 2 or 3, completely could change.
Yeah.
So realize too, and that's when you talked about the age gap between a 33-year-old and you. Well, their needs are different.
Yeah. How they'll shift, yeah.
Correct. They're going to constantly shift. So I would say start with understanding, what do you have need of right now? And what feelings do you have when you don't get those needs met? like right now, because of this mental fatigue, it's possible you're not getting your need for efficacy met because you can't be as effective as you usually are when you're mentally fatigued. So that's going to cause frustration, sadness, possibly apathy, anger, right? When we don't get our needs met, we have a hard to be with feelings. When we
Yeah.
do get our needs met, we have pleasant feelings. And when I say pleasant, what does that mean? It means ease, joy, happiness, relief, sense of things just flowing for us.
Yeah.
So I would say look at this needs list and you just spot check a couple of times a day. How do you feel? And if you don't feel pleasant, track it back to the need that was not met.
Okay. Because I figure that will like develop my self-awareness. Do you agree? Over time, maybe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's just take a quick segue. If a person, let's say again, is desirous, I'm going to use like a woman and a pocketbook. Let's say a woman starts working at a new office and every woman in the office has a Louis Vuitton pocketbook. She's probably going to want that bag, right?
Yeah.
But let's say the girls start to invite her out to lunch or give her gossip at the water cooler. She probably still wants the bag, but her need for belonging is met. So the have to get the bag decreases.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that actually really kind of linked to the whole idea that every want has an intrinsic need behind it.
Everybody has an intrinsic need to be seen.
Yeah.
You have a need to be seen, Miguel. I have a need to be seen. It's a human need. But if we both can get our needs met with the people that are in our life, the friends, the community, the tribe, that itch gets scratched.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind having a Maserati, but if I feel seen already in my day to day with the people that surround me, it doesn't become, I have to have a Maserati. I'd like a Maserati, but it's
Yeah.
all right if I don't get it.
Yeah. I think that stems to my childhood a lot. At least the kind of keywords being used of feeling seen. I can instantly. I don't even have to think. I can instantly link it to childhood.
Yeah.
Instantly.
So I'm curious if there, whatever this particular period from your childhood that is a moment that you know could be attached to this, if you went and were a contribution to other boys at that age right now, once a week, once a month, I would bet the farm you come away from being that to them with yourself feeling so filled up, you would be overflowing.
I actually, curiously, my high school invited me 2 weeks ago to go talk because I don't know. They just invited me because they knew I was close, and I went to talk to not to the age group that I felt like that kind of stuff, but I went to talk to a lot of 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds about just managing schoolwork and being able to still have a teenage life, and it actually did make me much happier than I don't know. It's really. I felt it wasn't even happy. I wouldn't say it was like fulfilled, being able to
Fulfilled.
help someone,
Good word. Good
being
word,
able.
Mikkel. That fulfillment is what everybody's seeking, but through our wants. But it isn't the wants that give us that feeling of being
To,
fulfilled.
yeah,
you got fulfilled that day because you got seen, you got known, and you saw them. They
Yeah.
felt seen, and that's what happens. It's reciprocal. You
Yeah.
see them, they see you.
Yeah.
You respect them, they respect you.
Yeah.
You get your gas tank filled up.
Mhm.
There's a powerful conversation, it's pretty old, that I had with JJ. I don't know if you know JJ. I think I did this interview with him how many years ago? It's been a while. I just want to go find it.
Is
I think his handle is VWAP Trader. Yeah, VWAP Trader
is
1.
he in the stocks scene?
He is.
Or
He is.
oh, I'm in the futures, so a lot of the I only know
Yeah.
I actually got to know you through Brian Lee.
Yeah, it's so
Amazing.
I would say go look up this interview I did with him. I'm going to put it in the comments.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he talks just about his journey of having made tremendous amount of money and how he speaks specifically. I mean, it was such a vivid story that I can still see the imagery. He talks about how he's looking out on this, gorgeous ocean or whatever this body of water was, this spectacular house, all the cars he ever wanted in his garage. And I think at the time, if I'm not mistaken, whoever the woman was in his life, it wasn't going well. And he was like, and I felt nothing.
Yeah. That's it really I am as you talk about it, I truly feel a sense of fear to feeling that
Yeah,
when it's too late. Not
yeah,
too late, you can't really
totally.
associate a late fear, but when it's a much later stage in my life, I truly do get scared of
Good. I'm glad you're
really
scared
yeah.
because it is more often the case than not.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been exposed a little bit to Thoreau, who wrote Walden Pond, and he says the majority of men, and he means men and women, lead lives of quiet desperation.
Yeah. I've heard that one, yeah.
That is why. Because we chase what we think will fulfill us, and then we get to the end of the race and find out, oh shit.
The
not
race
so
was the
much.
fun. Yeah.
Exactly. Did you ever get to see The Last Dance, the documentary about Michael Jordan?
No, but I did hear about a trader saying his, and I think Kobe has one too,
Mm.
are very good films or documentaries about.
Yep. So The Last Dance I think a multi-part series on Michael Jordan. And here's my question. As you watch him get interviewed, I want you to ask yourself, does he look like a man who has peace and joy?
I'm gonna keep the because I'm gonna I was gonna ask where is the do you have the resource of the needs list on your
You,
website?
if you send me, are you on X?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, yes, yes.
so send me a DM. I think I'll send you, if you send me a DM on X, I'll send you the link. And in fact, here, I can put the link up right here. I kind of forgot that I even have this because I'm so focused on you. So here's the list. And for anybody listening to, because obviously I think this is a very, very important list for every trader to review. So let me give that to you right now. This is, you just sign up for it and it'll get emailed over to you. Here it
Yeah,
is. Okay, I got it here.
I'll be
So
glad.
tell me that you can see this. And Tina just made a really good point. Tina said VWAP Trader is going to be valuable regardless of the instrument you trade because he has so much market wisdom he was a market maker. And so he's just seen every iteration of what goes down. But it's just, and he did this conversation with me, I think 3 years ago. He was like one of
Mhm.
my first podcast interviews. But the reason I say that about The Last Dance is there is a person who accomplished just mind-blowing things. And yet, I am not sure that I see the level of equanimity and joy one would expect somebody who was able to have accomplished that much have. So
But
that
do you notice any? I'm actually curious. Do you notice any pattern like that amongst your most successful clients? Like, do you notice that to reach perhaps the top of the top of trading or
Mhm.
any sub niche in finance? Do you notice that you need to kind of put your happiness aside and your fulfillment aside and just, I don't know, like, is that something you see
Great
among?
question. It's a great question. And I think it's a really important inquiry. Everybody's journey is going to be unique to them. I think there are times where we are not going to necessarily prioritize our short-term happiness because of what we feel called to accomplish. So it isn't about always being happy. That's not what I'm advocating, because there is going to always be a cost of some sort for us to achieve greatness. We're going to have to, I'm a huge believer that we're all on a hero's journey. And a hero's journey means a call to adventure. There's going to have to be a belly of the whale experience, heartbreak, loss, cost, right? And in service to what? In
Yeah.
service to what? Because you feel called to be the best version of yourself. I hear some of that in what you were saying at the start of this call. You are seeking, and this is why I don't want you to demonize that. I don't want you to call that greed, because I don't hear greed. I hear you wanting to be the best version of you.
Yeah.
You see yourself as capable of bringing all of that, and that is going to include possible sacrifice, discomfort, pain, fatigue. So it's not that it's all going to be just like unicorns and rainbows, but in service to what?
Yeah.
If it's in service to you getting your needs met, and what you feel, perhaps those that are very close to you, you want to be a contribution to them, then worth it. But if it's just for the financial wants, I don't know that that is going to, at the end of it all, necessarily be worth it if you don't get your needs met as well. So it's not like anything's wrong with those securing those things, but let's be sure that at the end of it, you are getting your basic needs met.
Yeah. I think that will make a big difference in just my mindset. I sacrificed a lot, not a lot, but I feel like I did sacrifice a considerable amount, and now I see it was fully worth it. But at
It's
the
awesome.
time, I couldn't see that. I
But
sacrificed.
somehow you must have. Somehow you must have, or you wouldn't have continued to keep sacrificing.
Yeah, but yeah, I
So
don't know.
give yourself a pat on the back for that, Miguel, because
Okay.
probably you were working with a lot of your friends who just playing. And a lot of the young traders that I've talked to over the years, they do pay a huge price, not just socially and emotionally, but physically, because of the hours they've had to put at their trading desks. Their body gets jacked up because of it. These are sacrifices that are going to have to be made. They are inevitable. There's a sacrifice to anything we are striving for. So it's not like these sacrifices won't be required, but if we are coming from a place of the drive because we're feeling called to accomplish it, it's a very different energy than I have to prove myself.
Yeah. I struggled start of this year with, I don't know, start of this year, end of last year, with keeping other parts of my life uh, disciplined, like I
Mhm.
did when I was working towards trading. So my just like stuff like reading, even studying. For, like at the time, I was trying to get very good high school grades. The gym and exercise, and now that I've kind of achieved, that was kind of sideways to learning how to trade. So I was really trying to learn. I was ingraining myself, but at the same time, I was doing that. Now that I have achieved the consistency I've always wanted in my trading, I feel like it was hard to maintain the side thing. So I was like, okay, like my trading is how I want it. I
Mhm.
can, like, I struggle to have the same discipline to, and I noticed this now to, and it's not because of lack of time. It's I noticed the increased lack of discipline to revise for university, for example, to go to the gym and eat more and eat better.
Yeah.
Um,
But you got to remember too that like you're putting so much into your discipline tank, so to speak, with school, with trading. So you're going to need to look at that big picture of being so disciplined. To expect perfection for any of us in every area of our life is a lot to ask for.
yeah,
So you're going to need to make some choices about your bandwidth of discipline and how
yeah,
to set yourself up for living into not so much goals, because goals, I'm not sure they really work as well as what is it that you are challenging yourself with.
and
And
maybe what I want to be, and
yes,
not.
yes, 100%. And let that be perhaps contemplated with these needs. I would look at the needs list from the perspective of what are the need. First, you're going to just look at it from all the needs you have. And then I would say, which ones are non-negotiable for you? You need, these are ones I absolutely will not do without. One of my non-negotiable needs, for example, is freedom. I really like security, Miguel, but
Mhm,
I pick freedom. I work as an entrepreneur. I don't get a lot of security, but
me
I get
too.
but I get freedom met.
Me
So
too.
I had to make a choice, but I knew that I'd rather get freedom met. So that's why I chose to become an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah,
But I have a girlfriend who really needs security. And when she was, thinking about it, I was like, let's just think about this. How often are you
yeah,
going to get security met as an entrepreneur? And she's like, oh my God, you're right. I don't want that. I was like, exactly.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with
But
that
it varies. It varies.
for person to person. So
Mm,
that's why I would say take inventory. What do you need right now in this time of your life? What you you can't get them all met at once, your needs. So which are the ones that you know right now you want to be a good steward of?
okay. Yeah, it's just hard because it's so, especially in Portugal, it's so unusual. So sometimes it's just lonely. It's
Yes.
just, I've
Yes.
counted, I've had 22 friends trying to learn how to trade. Not one of them, I've really, like, literally mentored
So
one-on-one calls and
Miguel,
stuff.
are you on X?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
put your handle, because it's 160 people here who I would pretty much bet would want to be friends with you and not have you feel so isolated. So if you guys see Miguel's handle, please follow him once he puts it in the box
I will
and
just,
start to become somebody who creates a tribe, because being part of a community is a human need.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I was I was thinking as a desire of mine, like, oh, maybe one day I will maybe create a personal brand on X and
Mhm.
create a community or pod,
Yeah.
I would like to call it.
What's stopping you from right now doing it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't recognize the true value in it.
Well, are you
But
thinking differently?
I know it's valuable, but I don't know. I don't know.
Perhaps right now is an opportunity for you to be what you're in need of for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. I need to be able to talk with other people more about trading perhaps and how I
I think
feel
you
and
do. I think you do. And I think that's understandable and it's human. And hopefully now some of these 160 people will connect with you. And if you listen to a lot of the very successful traders that are out there, including Jeremy Aguiar, who was just on my podcast yesterday, what does he say at the end of the podcast? And I'd say almost all the guys I've had on my podcast, they're like, hey, if you want to reach out and da da da, Brian Lee, like there these guys that are freaking there for you guys, but none of you ask them. I mean, there are some who ask in a lazy way, and that's ridiculous. But the ones
yeah,
who are like, hey, man, like, I'm following your stuff and I have a question or two.
yeah,
Or what Discord room would you recommend? Or what conference would you recommend? Or how can I be a contribution to you so I can just sit at your knees and learn from you for 5 minutes? Here's Katie ready to discuss trading with you. Thank you, Katie. And she would
we
love
will
to
for
hear
sure,
you trade.
Katie. If you follow me or message me,
There you go.
we'll definitely get in contact. Yeah, that's nice. I don't know. It's just I feel a bit at times lost because I just it's the first thing ever in my life that I've done for myself.
Beautiful.
School, I always excelled for my mom and my dad and very just keeping them very happy, and I did make sure of that. Um, and I don't know, it's the first thing where I have real passion to.
Yep.
I
I
have
totally hear
real
it.
And it's
Totally
just
hear it.
it's weird. It's just new, very new. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
well, it's lonely because you're being called to something nobody else can relate to, but that is the hero's adventure.
yeah,
Every hero. Did you ever see Star Wars? Did you ever
yeah,
read
yeah,
Harry Potter? Did you ever see Neo in The Matrix?
yeah.
There's a call to adventure. You've been called to the adventure, Miguel, and you said yes. So, of course, you're scared. Of course, you're lonely. It's part of the experience. If you are on, this is like so many poets, and Joseph Campbell has probably said this a million times. If you know where you are on the path, you're not on your path.
Yeah,
If you are on a path and you don't know where you're going, then you are on your path.
yeah,
So you're lost? Good. That means you're on your path, not somebody else's.
yeah. It's lost as in I know where I want to be and go, and I am where I want to be, but then I thought it would feel so much different.
Mhm.
Completely. I thought it was like I remember 3, 4 years ago just dreaming of results and of just even school went really well, dreaming of all these things, and then it happens, and it's like it's
Huh,
completely different to what I expected it to feel like.
totally. So
Yeah,
good for you that you noticed it early because you get to craft and design the rest of the journey for yourself now with eyes wide open. without blindly pursuing a path that wasn't going to really satisfy you.
Which I struggle with seeing a lot of in university.
I'm sure.
It's kind of everyone is going, and I have the option to, if I want to, the typical finance path of internships, and I will do a few just to experience that corporate stuff. But I know that deep down, it's not what I want to pursue at all. But I see it, and then I feel kind of maybe I should be doing that. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe even though I imagine like if you don't have the results, it's even harder. But
totally.
even having the results, it's like maybe I should just do what the others are doing. Maybe I should just it's I struggle with it.
So the word should is an indicator that an inner critic is possibly afoot. So should, would, could are the signs of what an inner critic says. So that could be a book worth reading as well. It's called Taming Your Gremlin.
Taming Your Gremlin.
Yep, by Rick Carson. And he also was on my podcast. I'd watch that conversation because he talks about the monster of the mind, that inner voice that criticizes us and tells us we should this, we should that.
You definitely do seem to have a lot of. It's funny how always the most valuable resources out there are all the ones which are not hugely known. It's actually incredible.
I'm glad that they serve you, Miguel, but it's only because I had to get this for my own journey.
Yeah.
I had to wrestle with my own demons and my own old stories. And I was determined to get the tools.
Yeah.
And that is now why I want to share those tools, because I got a hell of a collection.
I'm sure you do.
What's the point of having all these books that I've read and videos I've watched unless I get to share them? Like, what's the point? They work for me. I got to get them out to everybody else.
You probably have more experience in just coaching as a whole than my age. So I can't imagine the. No, I was hearing the conversation with Katie, and I was just like, it was very powerful. Really, it was not the usual generic. Which it's good beginner advice. All the generic advice is good for beginners, but it gets to a point where it needs to be a bit more tailored.
Yep, agreed.
Um,
And that
I was
practice,
just super thankful. Super thankful.
well, I'm thankful to you for being willing to be so courageous to come into the conversation and for being so forthright and honest with yourself and in this conversation. So thank you. So Katie wants to know, is Age Trading on YouTube or on X?
Oh
Somewhere
yeah,
else?
I have my other computer in front of me. Katie, it's only on X. I don't really use YouTube.
Okay, good. Perfect.
If you, I'll stay in the chat because it's 1:30 a.m. here.
Yeah.
So
And
I'll stay in the
you
chat
go
for a
to
bit
sleep
more.
because you're wanting to make sure you don't get too fatigued. And I have to end as well. So Miguel, you're going to stay in touch with me. I gave you the link for you to get the needs list.
Yeah, I've downloaded it already.
Perfect.
I just need to put my email. Yeah.
I would also recommend maybe watch my conversation with Raphael Kushner, who I referenced for Katie, because he was my coach that helped teach me that somatic practice that I did with Katie. And
I'm gonna watch that one, and I'm definitely gonna watch the one with VWAP Trader and the book you mentioned, which was
Taming Your Gremlin with
Taming Your
Rick
Gremlin.
Carson. Yep. So Rick Carson, VWAP Trader, and the Raphael Kushner podcast. Those
Perfect.
three are going to kind of take different perspectives, but they, I think, all are speaking to some of where you're at. And here's another book. You don't have to read them all now, but T. Harv Eker's book, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, I think is a good book for you too, because I do think you're in the middle of reconciling what your relationship to money abundance scarcity is. And that is a great book that helps us really pull it apart. Because when we come from a financial background that is different than the one we might have now or be creating for ourselves, it's important to kind of get all of that stuff healed, because it also can be sometimes generational. Where
It's very cultural in Portugal.
exactly.
I think the reason why I mentioned the word greed at the start, I was thinking, stems a bit from that. A doctor here, an extreme rich, high
Mhm.
quality doctor, is not making probably close to six figures. It's a complete different reality to what
Totally.
trading can bring. It's
100%. 100%. So there are going to be in every culture, right? Whether we are like, yes, you're living in Portugal, but a kid in New Jersey whose parents or grandparents are from Portugal is going to be experiencing the same cultural dynamic. So if we come from a culture where money potentially has been positioned as like, well, who do you think you are? Like this, there's another book, I don't know if I have it on my shelf here. It's called The Blue Collar Something with White Collar Dreams. This is it. It's not that you have to read it. I'm just going to talk about it for a second. It's called
I'm writing all of them down.
Okay, Limbo, Blue Collar Roots, White Collar Dreams. And this is about, his name is Alfred Lubrano, and he wanted to be a reporter. And his family were construction workers, laborers.
Yeah.
And his family were like, what? Are you better than us?
Yeah. It's kind of
He didn't think he was better than them. He loved words. He loved writing. He wanted to go down that path, but they found it as betrayal to their backbreaking efforts to build his family up over the years. So if any time any of us are coming from a middle class or working class cultural background, it's very possible we will find ourselves holding ourselves back because it feels like we might be betraying our own.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have a journaling session with myself one of these days. I'll definitely. I've written down a few of the issues, a few of the key points I've gotten. So, Kima, thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Miguel, so much. Stay in touch. I'm going to follow you on Twitter too.
I'll definitely follow Katie too back.
Good, perfect. She's got herself there under Cynthia Marin 888.
Yeah.
So, what a long conversation this was. It was just amazing how forthright you were. Katie, thank you as well for being so forthright. This was one of the longer sessions we've had in a long time, but it was so juicy good. And Miguel and Katie, both of you made that be the case. So thank you for your honesty and your heart in this conversation today.
Thank you very much, Kim. I hope the years to come bring a lot of success for everyone in the chat and for me and you. I hope that.
Thank you. I know they will for you, honey. I know they will for you. You're going to be a fire that is just filling the sky with fireworks. So stay in touch, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Kim. I'll keep in contact, okay? Thank you.
Okay, please do. Aloha, everybody.
Thank
you so much
Bye-bye.
for work. Thank you, honey. Bye-bye. Take good
Bye-bye.
care. Okay, take care. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. This was a unusually long episode, but I hope a valuable episode for everybody who's here. Just great deal of gratitude to both Katie and Miguel for being so vulnerable and such a contribution to all of you. If you guys have questions about what happened today, the different techniques I used or the different books, please just reach out to me. And if you're interested in working with me as a coach, again, send me a DM and I can find out a little more about you. And if I think I can be of help, I will let you know. And if I want to if I feel there's something that what you need I don't address, I will put you in touch with somebody who can. So sending you guys lots of love, and I will see you next Wednesday. I